And so I started to share with us that it is important for each and every one of us to be able to have a vision for our lives. And I've defined vision in different ways. You understand? It's the expected future, what you would like your future to be. And the Bible says that without a vision, the people perish. The people waste away. Another one says the people run amok. That is, they run crazy. But vision simplifies your life. Where does vision come from? The vision for us as believers, we believe that God is the one who gives us vision. So the vision we're talking about is God's ordained vision for our lives. What our lives should be like. So every one of us has a responsibility to have a vision for our lives. What do you expect in the next 10 years, in the next 15 years? How do you want to see your retirement? How do you want to see your old age? How do you want to be like? How do you want to see your children? What's your vision for your children? What's your vision for your career? What's your vision for your marriage? And all of those things. Because each of these things, when you have a vision, it simplifies your life. Why does it simplify your life? It lets you know the things not to do. Because vision lets you know what to do. So, it simplifies your life by you saying, this, if I do this one, it will not be able to tie to my vision. I read something that was very interesting to me. And I'm not sure whether I share this, but very interesting. It's a story of a man who, this guy said when he met the man came out so well dressed, as if he came out of a GQ magazine. But he was driving this old battered car. And he said that it did not look like he came out of that battered car. Please listen to this. This really blew my mind. And of course, he got talking to the guy. He found out that because of what the man was doing, his profession at that time, he needed to dress well. Because that is what his job entails as a salesman. But his car is battered because they don't care what kind of car he drives. So instead of changing his car, he started to save on what the car note he would have been paying is. Why? Because he had the vision that someday he was going to start a business and he needed a down payment. So he couldn't control his clothing, what he had to wear, but he could control what he would drive. And so many years after, he was able to save the money he would have used to buy. And people were looking at him, why are you driving this Vanguard car? But he didn't care about what anybody said, because he had the vision of what he wanted to do. And so years after, when the opportunity, everybody say opportunity. When the opportunity came, he was able to put down that money and start the business. Now, reverse is the case. He can drive whatever he wants, and he can dress whatever. He can go to work with knickers. He owns the business. That when I read that thing, it tells me a story of vision. Because of his vision, he was ready to make adjustment as it found necessary, because he knew what he wanted to do in the future. So you are living in an 8-bedroom house. You are driving a very fanciful car, which is nothing bad, don't get me wrong. But you know you are tired of your job, and someday you would like to set up your own business. So you want everybody to know you have a lot of money, but you continue to be an employee as long as you live. Because now, what you're supposed to save, you are spending. Did you get what I've just said? I'm going to answer this question. So we look at this man called Nehemiah, who we're using in the Bible as someone who had a vision. And I shared part of this at the prayer retreat. You know, I was tired, and somebody told me, did you understand everything I said? But I understood myself. Yeah, he said, Mr. Pastor Ghandi, you are so tired, I didn't even understand anything you said. Yeah, I'm not offended, don't get me wrong. But so I will say it a little bit more. A man called Nehemiah is a character in the Bible. We looked at him had a burden. A burden is different from a concern. Because a lot of people have concern. How you know what you have is a concern is that when your concern changes, it's a concern. Burden doesn't change. It's there in your heart. Every opportunity you hear anybody say anything, that thing comes up again. And so we look at this man called Nehemiah from Nehemiah chapter 1. Let's put it on the screen. Let's see what happened there to him. Nehemiah chapter 1. There was Nehemiah chapter 1, verse 1. Nehemiah 1, verse 1. The words of Nehemiah, the son of Hakaliah, it came to pass in the month of Chislev, in the 28th year that I was in Shushan, the citadel, that Anani, one of my brothers, came with men from Judah, and I asked them concerning the Jews who had escaped and who had survived the captivity, and concerning Jerusalem. Like, this guy was in what we call the diaspora. And so he saw people from Jerusalem who came to him, just like some of us who are from Africa. We find out that we always ask, what's going on in our country? And a lot of the time is very similar to this. Most of the time. And they said to me, the survivors who are left in captivity in the province are there in great distress and reproach. The wall of Jerusalem is broken down and its gates are burnt with fire. So it was when I heard these words, I want you to see how body starts. It's not just a concern, because when you look at what happened to him, the Bible says that then he sat down and wept and mourned many days, and he fasted and he prayed before the God of heaven. So you could see the burden. So for you also, the burden was what gave birth to that vision of him doing one thing, saying, I can make a difference. And I'm praying that you will make a difference in your generation. I'm praying that you will make a difference in your generation. And so that burden of what he had, and at times is a burden of what you see. I shared with us about Bill Gates. It's a burden that made him to become a billionaire. It's a burden that made Steve Jobs to create Apple and all of those things. It's a burden of them thinking, let's look at Bill Gates. The whole computer fills a room. And then he had the vision that everybody can have what fills the room. They can have it on their table. Hence we call it laptop. So that is the vision that he saw. And what did he do? The burden did not leave him. Like you hear about this guy, the Facebook guy. The burden did not leave them. They left the college to pursue their vision. They left everything to pursue it. And the people of the world seems to know this better than us. And so this same thing happened to Nehemiah. And there is something here. Please give us the last verse in this one. The last verse in this. Talked about this also the other day. For I was the king's cupbearer. That is his profession in the land of captivity. For you to be the king's cupbearer, I mean, it means, of course, you're in the presence of greatness. You're in the presence of the king. You are still a cupbearer. You're a servant. It's just that you're a trusted servant, but you're still a servant. He said he's a cupbearer. He said he's a cupbearer. That's all he was. A cupbearer. A slave who is a cupbearer. So, why am I emphasizing this? I love the Bible. When he says something, it tells us that though his profession looks like he has access, but it's not a great access because he was a slave. But yet, he could have a vision to do great things. And why do I like that? It means that anybody, no matter how low you think you are, vision can be birthed in your heart. So, it didn't look like anybody. It didn't look like anybody could do any significant thing. Because he was in captivity, that is, was a slave in a foreign land. But yet, God birthed a vision through him to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. The people, don't forget, people were living in Jerusalem. How come they didn't have that vision? Because this is what happens. When you want to do something, he says, oh, you think you're the only one who can think about the other people there. That's not your own. The thing is that God has put that thing in your own heart. And you've got to follow through. So don't think I'm just a cupbearer. I am nobody. Never say that. The fact that you're a nobody is why you're a candidate for God to use. Because, let me tell you this, it's when you are empty, God can pour inside of you. When you are full, where does God want to pour? But God can fill you up because you know, I'm empty, I am nobody. And so, this is very important place. So this year, don't talk yourself out of it. This man could have talked himself out of the thing. What am I going to tell the priests? What am I going to tell the people that God sent me here? They said, you? What have you achieved? This is something also I said at the retreat. I don't want you, that is very important. Where you are presently, please, as a child of God, don't disdain it. Don't look down at it. Because where God placed him, just like Joseph has said to us, he was in the prison. But that prison was his access to becoming a prime minister. What God showed him, if Potiphar's wife did not lie on him, if he didn't go to that prison, he would never have become prime minister. Where this man is was what gave him the access. As we will read in chapter 2 now. It's what gave him access. So instead of you as a believer, don't be angry at your boss. Don't be angry at your supervisor. Don't be angry at them. What you need to do is learn. What I tell people is that if you don't have a good boss, you learn when you become a boss how not to be like that. That's what God just wants you to be. So that when you know that this one is not the way I must behave, because this is a badly behaved boss. So at least you are learning in the place. And God placed this man, Nehemiah, in that place because God knew he's the Alpha and the Omega. He knew that he was going to put this burden upon this man for him to go and build the wall. You must ask yourself, what is the wall that God is calling you to do? Because if not for that access, he would never have been able to. So, what do you do when you are waiting? Waiting time is not a wasted time. And I think I said this briefly to us. Waiting time is not a wasted time. We mature in preparation for the vision. Not only does our vision mature inside of us during the time of waiting, there is a tendency for us at times to assume that nothing is happening. There is a tendency for you to say, I'm going to go right and do it. No. Look at this man. 4 months went. For some of us, it's going to be 4 years. For some of us, it's going to be longer. But during the time of waiting, what did he do? Let's look at this. He prayed. That's what he did. He was doing something, he was praying, and he was planning. Listen to me. 2 things you do while you are waiting is you are praying and you are what? Planning, strategizing, thinking it through, taking it through. Those of you who are not here on Wednesday, you miss big time. Those of you who are here on Wednesday, you agree with me? Please get the tape. Get the tape or the CD. Get it. I'm telling you, it will bless you. It will bless you. I think I preached for about 2 hours or thereabout. But get it anyway. It was an everlasting sermon. So God has to grow us into our vision. That's what you do during the time. God works on us to prepare us for what lies ahead during the time of waiting. Because your vision is only the extension, I like this one, it's only the extension of God's vision. So what do? You pray to him. And then you start to plan. You start to plan. And then God does one thing. God gives the opportunity. God gives us the opportunity. Because we are praying about it. Then when we are praying, we are planning. Let me say this one. Praying is not only just talking to God. Why don't you ask him, God, speak to me. Give me the strategy. Give me the favor. Give me the open doors. Why don't you ask God that? That's what the prayer should be. A lot of times. Let me tell you this. Let first your prayer always be acknowledging him and praising him for finding you worthy to give you a vision. Please don't spend half of your time binding the devil. Spend your time praising him and talking about his almightiness. Let God arise. His enemies are going to be scattered. That's it. Please, spend time in praising him. Let the vision start to what? Incubate inside of you. Start to develop inside of you. By you finding online, what is it about this business? What do I need to do? How much will it cost? People have come to me and tell me they have a vision, and then you say, about how much will this is? I don't know. You don't know. You will need money. You can't go there and be speaking in tongues and pray. No, you will need money. So you've got to know how much, you've got to know the process, so it becomes what? The fuel for your prayer. You've got to think it through. You've got to think it through. So now you know what you need. And when you know what you need, it becomes the fuel for your prayer. We read this at the prayer retreat. Let's read it again. Nehemiah chapter 1. Let's look at it and get some wisdom out of this. The prayer. We read the prayer. Look at this prayer. And I pray to the Lord God of heaven. So what do you do in the time of you are praying? It consumes you. When you look at this man's prayer, you will know it consumes him. Oh, great and awesome God. So he went to him saying, God, you are the only one who can do this. So your body must turn into prayer. So giving it back to the one who gave it to you. He's the Alpha and the Omega, the omniscient God, the one who knows everything. So that he can give you a pathway for you to get there. Many are the plans in the man's heart. It's only God's purpose that will prevail. So since God's purpose is what will prevail, why don't you go back to him and let him tell you how you will prevail at every situation? So he said, I pray to the God, the great honor, who you keep your covenant and mercy with those who love you and observe your commandments. I think I shared this, I don't want to go over it again. But all he was saying to God is saying the principle that remind me of my promises. He went to God, he said, you know what, you gave me this. He said, I should remind you, you gave me this burden, I have this vision, this is what I want to do. He acknowledged God. He wasn't dealing with the devil here. He acknowledged who God is. Go to the last verse because of my time, I'm about. Go to the one before, where he said I was a cupbearer. Listen to what it says. Oh Lord, I pray thee, please let your ear be attentive to the prayer of your servant and to the prayer of your servants who desire to fear your name. Let your servant prosper this day. I pray and grant him mercy in the sight of this man. Because now he was able to do one thing. Through his prayer and through his planning, he found out that the person who is standing between him and this execution of this thing is the king. He saw him as the one who is the king. And when we do this, what happens is that God creates the opportunity. Look at chapter 2. Look at chapter 2. And it came to pass in the month of Nisan, which is about 4 months after, in the 28th year of King Artaxerxes, when wine was before him, that I took the wine and gave it to the king. Now I had never been sad in his presence before. You could see that the burden did not leave him. Therefore the king said to me, why is your face sad? That is the opportunity God created. That is the opportunity God created. And since you are not sick, this is nothing but sorrow of heart. So I became dreadfully afraid. Why? Because you don't go in front of the king with an attitude. And so he was afraid, but it's opportunity that God created for him. Because he's been praying. He's been not only praying, he's been planning. If you read this thing, you will know that he's been planning. Let's go on. And said to the king, may the king live forever. Why should my face not be sad when the city, the place of my father's tomb, lies in waste and his gates are burned with fire? I like this. And I read this one somewhere that it got me. You know, that why this man did not say Jerusalem. It's because where he was, they want Jerusalem to be like that. This king was part of the people, and his fathers were the ones who did that thing like that. And so, you could not now say you want to go and rebuild what the man you are serving is one of the people who destroyed it. So, the first thing he said was, my fathers. And what did he do with that? He went to the area of compassion of the king. Because he says, look at what he says. He lies in waste, and the gates are burned with fire. Next verse. Then the king said to me, what do you request? So I prayed to the God of heaven. You could see the constant connection with God with this man. What he wanted to achieve. He's a cupbearer. How can a cupbearer think he would go and build the walls of Jericho? He didn't have the money, he doesn't have the finances, he doesn't have the leadership, he doesn't have anything. He doesn't have followership that would make it happen. Listen to her. And I said to the king, if it pleases the king, this is where you will know. When he says, I pray to God, it's like, God, give me wisdom. You're at an interview, you say, God, give me wisdom. Let me say the right thing. God, help me. I don't know what to do. God, just sort this thing out. I'm in a quagmire. God, sort me out. I'm in a maze. I don't understand what I'm going through. God, it's not starting a vigil, because now you've got to speak. And I said to the king, if it pleases the king, and if your servant has found favor on your side, I ask that you send me to Judah, the city of my father's tombs, that I may rebuild it. He was clear about what the vision was. When the opportunity came, he grabbed it. Like they say, opportunity has hair in front. Once it's coming, you better grab it. Because once it doesn't have any hair behind. Because once it passes you, there's nothing to grab. But look at this. So it pleased the king. Then the king said to me, the queen also sitting beside him. I like that. When I read that, because you wonder why did the Bible put some things. I'm sure maybe you looked at the queen. The queen said, he's been a nice guy. Do it for him. Do it for him. Do it for him, Do it for him. You know how women can say, do it for him. And you know how women say, don't do it. Don't do it. Just say, don't do it. When you see the woman's face, you'll forget what you want to say. But anyway, let's agree that the queen is a good one. Say, do it for him. He's a good boy. Do it for him. How long will this journey be? And when will you return? So it pleased the king to send me, and I set him a time. Continue. Furthermore, I said to the king, if it pleases the king, let letters be given to me for the governors of the region beyond the river. So you can see now that the man, he has planned, he has thought about the thing. He has looked at this whole thing, what he was going to do. Listen to what he says, that they must permit me to pass through till I come to Judah. He has his plan. So what do? You are praying, you are planning, you are strategizing. You are doing research. You are doing a whole lot of things. Just like we say to people who want to get married. The question you ask the man is not, do you love me? Ask him, where are you going? What's your vision for your life? Because what do you want him to say? Somebody wants to marry you, say, do you love me? You say, I love you, pa. Not only love, pa, to die. What's he going to say? He will say, say, no, I don't love you. He will use other words for you that will mesmerize you and put you on cloud 9. Then you find out that you are still on the ground. But anyway, how did I get to marriage? What was I saying? All right, where he was going to pass. Why you do your face like that you should remember? Colette said you should remember what you are saying. Go ahead. But anyway, and a letter to ask the keeper of the king's forest that he must give me what? Timber. So you know that this man has thought about this. He must give me timber to make beams for the gates. Don't forget they told him the gates have been burned. So he has thought about his need. When the opportunity came, it was clear. Don't just say, God bless me, God bless me. Bless you for what? God told the blind man, he says, Jesus, son of David, help me. He said, what do you want? Jesus knew he was blind, but the man might not want sight. He might want money. He might want a wife. He might want children. So don't just say, God bless me. Be specific when you are asking God. So that's what you are taking. When people don't come for vigil, I just pity them. These are the fuel for your vigil. These are the things you come and pray about. Because it's not that you are praying by yourself, but when other people are praying, it helps you. To make beams for the gates of the citadel, which pertains to the temple, for the city wall, and for the house that I will occupy. And the king granted them to me according to what? The good hand of my God, who is upon me. Because he has been telling the Lord what these needs are. He has been telling him, I need this. God, I need this favor. I need this one. So, continue. Then I went to the governors in the region and beyond the river and gave them the king's letter. Now the king has sent captains of the army and the horsemen with me. He tells you what his demands were. He must have told the king, I will need some people to go with me. I will need this horseman. I will need this one. He was clear about what he wants to do. Don't just tell me you have a vision and there is no plan. There is nothing you are taking to God because you are an extension of God's hand. With this, you are the extension of God's hand. And, just meditating on this thing some weeks ago, I just thought that we believers, we are supposed to be the one inventing everything. Because all of these things, but I believe that when he doesn't see us, when we are not there, and God knows that we need these things for life to be more comfortable for mankind, whoever has he helps them to carry it out. We are the custodian of this thing. We are the custodian of it. But look at it. When Sanballat the Aaronite and Tobiah the Ammonite official heard it, they were deeply disturbed that a man had come to seek the well-being of the children of Israel. We mature in the preparation. Third thing that happens is that God is at work behind the scenes, preparing the way. What do you do? During the time of waiting, God is preparing the way for. God is working behind the scenes to prepare the way. God's vision is bigger than you. Nehemiah knew that apart from divine intervention, there was no way he could have been able to take part in the building of wall of Jerusalem. He knew that without God. This is what you do, don't you? So he waited and prayed. He also thought about it a lot. He dreamt about it. He dreamt about it. He also thought it through, exactly what it would take for him to pull off the project. He thought about what he would take, and that's why you find that horsemen followed him. He knew what to ask. He knew what to ask when the opportunity came. Your vision, do you know what to ask? If somebody says, what do you want? Say, what's that? Oh, you're not yet. You're not yet there. There should be a clarity. Vision is living it before you get there. You've lived it. And I shared the one about Walt Disney for us. What the wife said. When they said, we are just seeing this thing. Unfortunately, Walt Disney said, no. My husband saw it before he died. That's it. He saw this before he died. While you're waiting for your vision, vision is the art, A-R-T, of seeing the invisible. People say, I don't have enough time because of my present job. They say, I have no flexibility. That's why I don't have. People say, there's no time for me to pursue. I have an idea. Not enough money to finish it. Don't forget, provision comes with a vision. I've said that a million times in this church. Provision comes with a vision. So don't say you don't have money. First thing you get is what? A vision. Then provision means providing for vision. So you're not going to get provision when there is no vision. So you get the vision of what you want to say. People say, oh, I have no experience. My family responsibility leaves me without any time. Some people say, oh, it's because I'm in the wrong part of the country. I have too much school debt and loan to pay. So you find out that vision often dies during this period of inactivity. This is how it dies. It's discouraging to keep dreaming about something that seems not to have the potential of happening. People say, why waste time on what seems impossible? Building the walls of Jerusalem looked impossible. It's unbelievable that they built that wall in 52 days. And people have stayed there for years. The same people who lived there were the same people who built it. But they needed somebody who had a vision. They needed somebody who was going to lead. The world is waiting for you. Don't ever think you are nobody. That's why the example they gave to us in the book of Nehemiah, the guy was a cupbearer. He was nobody. But he was the same person that the Lord used. It was the same person. The man prayed, like I said. He planned. Those are the two things he did. When he heard about Jerusalem, there was nothing he could do about it. He was in the wrong place. He was in the wrong job. He was working for the wrong person. So that's what people say. He says, I have a wrong job. I don't have the right finances. I'm in the wrong place. No, it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter where you are. What you need is the vision. Your vision will pull you towards itself. Your vision will pull you towards itself. God gave Joseph a vision. So you're going to become a person everybody is going to bow down. But in Bethel, where he was living, there was no position for that. So God had to sell him into slavery for him to be able to achieve his purpose. Where you are now, don't disdain it. Learn what you want to learn because of where God is going to take you. You don't know where he's going to take you. As a worker, I studied my pastor, Tony Rappo. I studied him. Pastor Tony was an enigma, and that's the truth. Especially to me, because I know him. We used to party together. And all of a sudden, I saw a transformation when he became my pastor. And I never knew that I was ever going to pastor. But I studied him. I've left Tony Rappo. Stopped being under him for 20-something years. Till today, there are times I still think, how will Tony Rappo handle this situation? It was hard on me and many of us. Many people became gone through. I never did. I saw it as a training ground. True story. I saw it as a training ground. I saw it that God wanted to mold me into who he wants me to be because I was a scatterhead. And so a lot of the times when people are against, that's why till today, amongst many of us, I'm still the only one who preaches for Pastor Tony. He invites me to come and preach. But I studied him. Though people felt that it was hard, it was this one and all of it, but it was for a purpose. Till today, I think, how will Tony Rappo handle this situation? So wherever you are, make the best of it. He had 4 months of preparation. And the day God will release him to pursue his vision, He had 4 months. He didn't know when it was going to be. But he kept on. He never knew it was going to be 4 months. But God just suddenly created that opportunity. I can tell you, that day is not the first day that Nehemiah looked like that. It wasn't. You can imagine the initial couple of days. That's when the king should have said, what's wrong with you? The kind of burden. But I believe that God saw his heart. That this man, this burden is really on him. This man. And then God created the opportunity. Can God create opportunity for you? Do you have the burden or? You have an idea, but it's not a burden. It's a concern. So what you told us we were doing last year is not what you say you are going to do this year. That's a concern. Burden doesn't change. Until you achieve it, you will continue to carry it. Until you give back to it, you will continue to carry it. The truth is that prayer is critical for our vision development. Because in the place of prayer, God starts to shape the whole thing for us. This man did not let the burden die inside of him. Because most of the time, we see what we are looking for. Prayer makes us to keep looking and makes the burden fresh in us. Because when you keep praying about it, it's fresh. When you keep praying about it, it's fresh in your heart. You're meditating upon it. The thing is growing within you. It's becoming God is showing you the possibilities of it happening. Now you're becoming fresh because you're getting excited more about it. You're getting excited that this thing can happen. This thing can happen. This thing can happen. There's something prayer does. If you pray, when you leave the place, there's a confidence. Do you agree with me when you pray? When you leave the place, like when you left prayer retreat, there was a confidence. I know that by Wednesday, you didn't feel like that again, but at least on that Sunday, on that Sunday, you felt that, give me the world. The world is at my feet. But anyway, that's what prayer does. It keeps it fresh in you. Our prayer doesn't force God's hand, but it keeps us on the look for his intervention. Because you see what you're looking for. You know why? Because in the place of prayer, you know exactly what you're looking for. Once you see it, you say, that's it. This is what I've been looking for. Eureka. This is it. I found it. Nehemiah prayed for opportunity. That was what we read. He prayed for opportunity with the king, and he got the opportunity. Father, Lord, once again, we thank you. Heavenly Father, we share your words, had flesh to it. These people, Heavenly Father, let greatness be bathed inside of them. That which you have for them, open their eyes of understanding. Let them see the invisible. Let them do the impossible, Lord. What looks great, let them be able to do it. Father, Lord, once again, we thank you. Create opportunities for us. Opportunities for greatness. Create opportunities in our place of employment. Open our eyes where we are. Every one of us, we are working where we are working. We are schooling where we are schooling because we are your children and there is a plan and there is a purpose for us. Lord, I pray that you will open our eyes to it. Let us see the things we have passed many times. Show it to us in a new way. Let scales fall off our eyes. Let it be a new day for us. Let it be a new year for us. In every area of our lives, empower us, Lord. You gave us your word that we are going to soar as an eagle. We will not live the low life. We will not hick out of life. But Lord, you will empower us. Thank you, Heavenly Father. Let's look back at this year. Let us just be able to say, surely the Lord has helped us. Let that be our testimony. Renew our strength as that of an eagle. That during this period of waiting, renew our strength. Don't let us get tired. Don't let us give up. Don't let us feel it's not going to happen. You've never shown us what you can't give to us. Everything you've shown us about what can happen to our life, you can give it to us. Let the opportunities start to happen. Let the doors start to open, Lord. and give us the level of faith for us to be able to achieve it. Thank you, Heavenly Father.